Being a millennial, Najib Bukele, or as they call him, Bukake, knows the importance of a strong social media image. He tweets an average of once every 2 hours, and in an apparent appeal to the casual masses, he dresses in a casual jeans and jacket outfit, opting out of the stuffy suits politicians are normally associated with. An obvious move to brand himself as an outsider to the El Salvadorian political system. Prior to his election as the president of El Salvador, the country had suffered more than 2 decades of rule by 2 corrupt parties. I really can't stress that last point enough. 3 of the last 4 sitting presidents have been convicted on various charges relating to fraud and corruption. Najib Bukake ran on a platform of change. He promised to eradicate gang violence, he promised to stop the slow migration leaking out of the country, and he promised that the corrupted government officials would pay back everything they stole from the country. So when Najib was elected in 2018, it seemed like he would break the cycle of wannabe strongmen. But alas, Mr. Bukake had other plans. Upon assuming the office, President Bukake started filling up his cabinet with friends and family. His uncle is the Secretary of Commerce, his cousin is a leader of the political party, and personal friends control the country's ports and agriculture. This nepotism is uncouth, of course, but there's nothing outwardly threatening about it. It wasn't until February 9th, 2019 rolled around that he started gaining some international attention. Unhappy with his legislators' response to a crime-fighting bill, he stormed assembly flanked by M16 wielding soldiers, a move that the Human Rights Watch called an exhibition of brute force. He never explicitly made a threat on what would happen if his bill wasn't passed, but the message was received quite clearly. Since then, he's been slowly chipping away at his country's checks and balances. Most recently, Bukake sidestepped the country's legislative branch to declare a national state of emergency. He shut down the nation after only 3 El Salvadorians were positively tested for the corona, and since then has arrested thousands of citizens for breaking quarantine, locking them in cramped conditions that only facilitate the spread of the disease. COVID-19 has actually been a real boon for Bukele's grip of power. After a legislator coughed during one fateful assembly, Bukele tweeted that there had been a corona outbreak in the assembly chamber and that the entire place would be shut down. Enough frightened assembly members fled that they subsequently lost quorum. No quorum means no legislative powers to keep Bukele in check. In an even more brash flex of his authoritative powers, he ordered that prisoners from rival gangs be stripped and packed together like naked hens in a Tyson warehouse while their cells are being searched. A move that definitely doesn't follow social distancing guidelines. The mingled prisoners were wearing face masks though, a fact I'm sure brought them little comfort. It's pretty clear what President Bukake is trying to do. He's placing trusted individuals of his inner circle in key positions of power to ensure he'll have their support. He's systematically eroding the checks and balances his country's put into place to prevent abuses of power. Left unchecked, there's not much that will prevent Bukele from transforming El Salvador into a literal dictatorship. Fortunately, there are still some people standing in between Bukake and absolute power of El Salvador. Not the North Americans, no. Bukele is famously on fantastic terms with Donald Trump, the two of whom frequently meet with each other. He's even taken Trump's controversial advice on taking hydroxychloroquine as a way of fighting COVID-19, despite the overwhelming evidence on the drug's dangers and lack of effectiveness. But El Salvador's own Supreme Court, one of the same institutions Bukele is trying to fill with yes men. Last week, the El Salvadorian Supreme Court rejected an order from Bukele to extend a national state of emergency on the grounds that he hadn't gone through the country's legislative assembly beforehand. The legislator has since passed a ruling to accelerate the reopening of the country, something which our young Supreme Leader wannabe has said he'll veto.